Hello and welcome to Cover 3. I'm Manny Robinson here with Marcel Louis-Jacques and Scott Kiefer here in Carter Finley Stadium shortly after Clemson wrapped up a 38-31 victory over North Carolina State. Another scare, but the Tigers are surviving and advancing.
Yeah, they are, and I think we learned a lot about this offense tonight. Typically what you're seeing from Clemson is offense goes up by a score too early, coast throughout the game, and the defense, it's just playtime for them after that. But tonight, just like Dabo Swinney said in his press conference, a lot of guys grew up tonight, and we really saw a mature end-to-end effort from this offense, especially after that rough start.
You know, in the post-game, NC State coach Dave Dornan seemed more concerned with the presence of a laptop on the Clemson sideline. I immediately concluded it was probably in possession of our own Bart Boatwright, who often sends photos from the sideline, right? Sure. But I think it was a social media member from Clemson. He needs to be more concerned with why do you give up an 89-yard run up the gut in crunch time?
North Carolina State still on the cusp to getting into the realm of contenders with Clemson, with Louisville, and with Florida. I was about to say Florida State, but that's changed. So now Clemson turned its attention to the Seminoles. We thought this would come down to be the Atlantic Division Championship game, but it doesn't look like the stakes are that high anymore.
No, and Dabo also said at the game, he says, I have no idea of what version of Florida State we're going to see next Saturday. I kind of have an idea, the same version we've seen all season, and it's not good, it's not pretty. They're 3-5, and to salvage a winning season, they need to beat Clemson.
So it's funny that the issue with the laptop came up in this game. They could have just went to Justin Falcinelli on Clemson's offensive line. He's one of Clemson's best IT guys.
I've always been really into video games, and so that was mostly my driving factor for that. I wanted to get into PC games because there's just kind of a lot more out there. It seemed fun to do. There's stuff I wanted to try. And so looking around for computers, if you're going to buy pre-built ones, they're pretty expensive. And I figured if I was going to do it, I'd try to save some money and do it in a way where I'm going to learn something too. I've built a couple. I use mine for gaming mostly and doing my homework. And then I built one for my family to have at home too. A lot of YouTube videos, a lot of just web forums. It's a much more simple process than it really sounds like. It's really about 5 or 6 different parts. You check to make sure they'll all work together, and then they kind of snap together for the most part. So my coaches think I wired up electronics and a bunch of stuff like that, but it's not that complex. You start basically power supply, which is where the plug goes to, and then that has wires that will come out to everything else. Then you have your motherboard, which everyone can really picture. That is what looks like a computer thing. So in that, you have to make sure that's got the right setting for your CPU, which is the processor, the brain of the computer. And so knowing that, and then putting the CPU in is a delicate thing because you can't bend the pins or you'll ruin it. So it's just being careful with stuff like that. Especially here, that in Clemson, that's something we talk about all the time, little things, attention to detail. I mean, especially as a center, I have to pay attention to those things. I have to see kind of the safety position, alignment of the guys in front of me, little things like that, whether they're foot's forward or foot's back. Paying attention to little things helps so much because it just gives you more information.
Now let's kick it out to the fourth member of our team, Elizabeth LaFleur, who has our fun feature of the week.
I had a few beers and got dared to do a YouTube video, and now I'm a brand ambassador and on somewhat of a television show, and like this was never supposed to happen, so it's kind of funny.
If you're a Clemson fan who uses social media, there's a good chance you've heard of Clemson Tom. He's appeared as a guest on College Game Day 3 times. He's been nominated #1 fan in sports by ESPN and Bleacher Report, but even he says he's not worthy of being called Clemson's biggest fan.
I mean, I'll be the first person to tell you I'm definitely not the biggest Clemson fan out there. I'm probably the most outspoken, but as far as being the biggest fan, I don't think I am.
Tom lives in Florida, but family ties are what drew him to Clemson. So how did he get the nickname Clemson Tom? It all started when he was helping on a radio show in Tampa.
They're always, in typical sports talk fashion, there's always like a, John from Greenville. And so he's just known for John from Greenville. And I was Tom. I'm the Clemson fan, so it was like Clemson Tom.
The fame that came with the name was unexpected. It started with a YouTube video about 5 years ago. Maybe you've contributed to the 42,000 views. The video shows Tom roaming around outside of Auburn Stadium talking trash. He says he never expected to be elevated to a level of fame that would cause him to be recognized in public.
I've kind of slowed down in the video, so some of the stuff kind of stops, but I still get asked if I'm Clemson Tom all the time, and I'm always like, yeah. people usually take pictures with me or stuff like that and want to talk to me about different stuff. But when I was doing the videos every week, it was kind of crazy. Like everyone, like I'd go out and have to take like 30,000 pictures, and people would want to talk to me about stuff. And I was, after a while, I'm like, I just want a beer.
Maybe you'll spot him in Clemson this weekend. He's in town for his favorite game of the year as the Tigers take on the Seminoles.
Like I have to deal with the Florida State fans all year. Unlike if you lived in South Carolina, I have to deal with Gamecocks all year. So to me, this is a big rivalry, just because I have to deal with them 24/7. There's a lot of them here.
If you want to catch him, your best bet might be to keep an eye out during one particular pregame ritual.
I love Tiger Walk. Tiger Walk to me is so much fun. After Tiger Walk, I always go up to the top of the hill, and I like watching the band come down as they play.
For Cover 3, I'm Elizabeth LaFleur.
Well, that does it for us this week on Cover 3. For Marcel, Scott, Bart behind the controls, and Elizabeth, I'm Manny Robinson. Thanks for joining us. Y'all catch us next week.